Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to review xDAI, a scaling solution for Ethereum. So this is a top-down view of the overall health of the project, and I'll get into the details of all of these situations further down in the video. But basically, what is xDAI? So xDAI is the token. Well, it's a side chain to Ethereum. It's a scaling solution for Ethereum. And this xDAI is basically a stable unit that's used for all the transactions, payments, and fees. And it has a value of $1. And it's what you use to do, like, pay for the fees on the side chain. So it's basically like Ethereum or a blockchain. It's Ethereum compatible blockchain. And this xDAI stable currency is used to pay for all the fees and the transactions. So that would be your balance to pay for all of that. And it's a low cost environment to execute Ethereum environment type situations. The stake token is basically what we're reviewing from a price standpoint, and it's the one that could the token that could float freely on the exchange, and it's the proof of stake consensus token. It is the token that provides security for the xDAI chain. It's a multi-chain project. The value the market decides, and you earn APR for staking the token, and you could also earn money from the transaction fees that happen on the network. So one of the services provided by one of the problems that this project solves, what problems or market, is basically scaling Ethereum. And it has this Omni bridge, okay? So this is the only reason this project's appealing to me right now, is this bridge allows for any ERC20 to go to xDAI and back. And the xDAI bridge is basically where you move DAI, MakerDAO stable coin. If you don't know about MakerDAO, I suggest you go look up, learn about that. That is a dollar. It's a stable currency on Ethereum, and this is a dollar on Ethereum, and this xDAI is the dollar on xDAI, and it's used for all the fees on the xDAI system. So that's what the xDAI bridge does. So it allows for you to move your Ethereum DAI, your Ethereum dollars to xDAI, so you can take care of these transactions, payments, and doing processes on xDAI. But the Omni bridge, which is more interesting to me, allows you to bring any ERC20 over. And there's one dApp on top of this side chain called HoneySwap. HoneySwap. It's like Uniswap. So for most people in crypto, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a DEX on top of xDAI, and that is the major use case for now. But we do need more users on that HoneySwap. There is only 1 million in deposits, but it seems to have stabilized at around 1 million. It spiked up, and now it's at 1 million in volume, and it seems like it might go up again. I hope it does. And that's where, in reality, to get to the bottom line of this project, that's where if HoneySwap is where it's at, it's a dApp that this project proposes. If HoneySwap starts getting users, if HoneySwap starts getting volume, that's how you know this project's going to perform. So it's directly correlated to that dApp, unless it gets another dApp of users. But for now, that's the situation. All right, but I'll get further into that in a minute. So what does xDAI want to do in the future? So if it's going to scale Ethereum, and then Ethereum scales itself, well, what it wants to do is incorporate itself into Ethereum as one of Ethereum's shards. So Ethereum's going to have 32 shards, and that means that xDAI will have 132, the value of Ethereum. And Ethereum's going to be a very valuable network. I can imagine Ethereum having $1 trillion market cap. So it'll be 132, the value of that Ethereum network as a sidechain, or as a shard on that Ethereum network. So that's their goal in the long run. Okay, so how much money must pass through the system to justify a $1 billion market cap? Fees are unlikely to justify a $1 billion market cap because the fees are extremely low. But the governance component and those elements may contribute to higher prices, but from a fee standpoint, I don't see a fee supporting a $1 billion market cap. So does the team have a track record showing that they can deliver? They can deliver a bit of code, beautiful code and products. However, they have failed investors in the past with the proof of POA network, and I'll get into that as well. Okay, so let's get this thing rolling. Okay, so I'll go over this after the review is done. So I did put ultimately that I expect the price to perform. I invested a small amount in this project. I would have invested larger, and I'll get into what those things that made me invest a smaller amount versus a larger amount. But I do expect there to be future increase in demand for the token. So the ETH fees are the only reason for potential adoption, in my opinion, or of this project. This project only exists as a solution for Ethereum's ridiculous fees. Ethereum's fees are ridiculous. And so that's what may push people into this project in the future. And that's what you're kind of betting on, is that Ethereum fees will be unmanageable and people won't be able to stand it, and they will move to this project. And that is certainly a possible reality. In my opinion, this project will, you know, if Ethereum solved its fees tomorrow, the project would probably die. You know, that's just my honest take on it. And, you know, maybe it wouldn't die. It would find some other use case. They would pivot. But in my opinion, that's where most of its value is coming from, is a solution for the ridiculous fees on Ethereum. So I don't see any marketing campaigns, so it's relatively undiscovered from that standpoint. Now, one thing to note, their Twitter is down. So you can see that as being bullish, or you can see it as being bearish. But that is one thing that they're failing to do, is keep hype for the project. Because like, for instance, when they announced strategic partnerships, which I did put green because they do have some good partnerships, such as Gnosis, Chainlink, HBAR, and Data Privacy, and Hive. But people will not become aware of those partnerships because their Twitter is down. Their account is suspended, so who knows what. You could see that as being bullish or bearish. I put it as bullish because it just means less people are aware of what they do. When the project's working in the background, no one's really aware and hyped up right now, so that hype will be compensated in the future. But maybe that's the wrong take, and that certainly could be justified. So the POA network has 18,000 followers, and their main team member, Igor Barinov, has 4.4K followers, so they have a relatively small presence on Twitter. Telegram has about middle-of-the-line Telegram group. YouTube exposure, pretty low. Chico Crypto's talked a lot about him, and he's a pretty, people are aware of him. But the average video is about 30,000 views, so, it's not the biggest awareness. But people are definitely aware in certain cryptocurrency circles. So I put social media as being green because it's relatively a low presence. Major upcoming events. They are going to be working, like 6 months away, is privacy preserving transactions. So that could be a valuable component if they have an exchange on, if like HoneySwap was private, oh man, then it probably could attract a lot more people, because there's a problem called front running, where when you're trading on a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, people will they can see what you're trying to do, and so they could buy and sell to you at a higher price if your orders are a decent size, and that happens to people all the time. So you're in the future. I don't think once again, this is one of my crazy predictions, but I don't think HoneySwap. I don't think Uniswap's going to survive unless they become private, because all the volume's going to move to some privacy DEX in the future. In the long run, privacy will win out on DEXs. But for now, so this privacy could give it a potential, maybe if they, this might give them relevance in the long run, even if Ethereum does scale, becoming that sharded on Ethereum, they may become the privacy DEX on Ethereum. So it's still a story to be watching, and these guys are very technically competent. So that would be a story that would keep them relevant. But I did put money needed to move price up decreases. Like they have this easy, because of their staking, the proof of stake model locks up a lot of tokens. It's one of the major contributors to my thoughts on that. They do have a high inflation rate for 6 months. It's 110%. After that, it's 15%. So we're still in that period of hyperinflation. And so The high inflation is until June 2021, and once again, another time to probably visit this project. And that's why on my estimate, I think that the highest performance that this project's going to see is in 8 months. So that's when I'm buying this, I'm holding it till then to reevaluate, to see if they pivot in a direction to where I can see them being bullish at that time. So dividend irrelevancy, there's not enough staking rewards to offset inflation. The token supply distribution 42 is middle of the line. It's not super bad. It's not super good. The they're up 2x in like 3 days, but they're still 70 down from their high. And we are in a bull market for alts, so I can see this thing pumping. So even though it's already up 2x in like 3 days, I'd still put yellow. Because we're in a bull market now, and so it's likely to see price appreciation. However, I put yellow because it's already seen 2x in 2 days. So it's niche. It's currently serving a market now. Well, HoneySwap, or being able to move ERC20s onto their system, that is a very good niche to have, especially with Ethereum's ridiculous fees. So I put that as green. They have a good niche. Low market cap. They are a low market cap at fully diluted 108. And circulating is 46 million market cap. So it's a relatively low market cap. However, put yellow because of the supply distribution. All right, so the governance. Validators and delegators, minimums, fees, and you're also in control of the network parameters. You vote on proposals. There's 200 stake that has to be for delegator, and 20,000 stake that has to be staked to be a validator, and you earn those xDAI fees, transaction fees. The reason I'm involved with this is because this use case is pretty good. And it's also the reason those involved in the project will care about the project, because, they get those fees. Being a validator, is kind of control of the networks. And, you're building that blockchain. You're in control of that blockchain. So the token is very much integrated, and it's why the governance should be good, in my opinion. So take a look at this note too. So validator description, basically it's a node operator. It's the one that extends the chain. It's in control of the chain. There's 20,000. This is why I said this component contributes, because it's 20,000 stake that's locked up to have this position. There's 3,000 candidates, 19 selected. So that, it's fast like EOS, because there's only 19 that ultimately end up that are being used at any time. They collect revenue from the fees of xDAI. Which, if this chain gets used a lot, that xDAI fees could justify $1 billion market cap if there was a lot of activity, and that's entirely possible. And, it's ultimately why I invested. So bridge governing process. One thing I didn't like is that their bridge doesn't, they have a proof of authority bridge, which is basically, the token is not in control of the bridge validation, which I don't like. The 3/4 the decision run by the proof of POA network, Protofile, Giveth, and MakerDAO. So these are the validators that control the bridge, chosen from the Ethereum community. So it's good that they're chosen from the Ethereum community, because they're more relevant in that sense. So, this is a very Ethereum, this might even be why Vitalik and other people from the Ethereum network like this project so much, because they're also the ones running this. But they're selected to run it, so it's not decentralized. The bridge governance is not decentralized, but I think that they want to move to that in the future. So they're selected from the Ethereum community. You could look it up to see who is involved with that. But I did say that was green. And so they're Ethereum people who are in control of that. But I don't like a lot of things about their governance. That's why I put this as yellow. I think the token should be more in control of the project than just being the validators. It should be in control of that chain, etc. It should be in control of that bridge. So all of this is irrelevant stuff. Whether, exchanges could vote on behalf of users, and they probably are, but it's probably not hurting the chain as much as it would like something like EOS. So the team is not dumping tokens. Yeah, I haven't the team has majority control through the token. So I haven't seen that as being true. Like, you know, in future videos, I might go over and say that if you know, like if you have a project and the team remains in full control, like what you want, the best kind of project, in my opinion, that you want is a project where the token is in control of the project, but the team members remain in control through holding the token. So they show that they care about the future of the project, and the token is in control of the project, and they're holding majority of it. So that's what I think is one of the most bullish, and I don't see that as being evidence here that that's what they're doing. Because the token doesn't seem to be fully in control. It's up to the development team to decide what proposals ultimately get through. The thing the token holders could do is put up proposals, but can they put those proposals in like they can in DOT? I don't know. It doesn't seem to be the case. So I put that as yellow. So look, you know, they do. I actually would put this as green, the long-term vision and strategy, because that privacy solution might make sure they're relevant. So I'm actually going to change that. So yeah, like in the future, they want to do, you know, they're going to do consensus upgrades into, and they will become more decentralized, and it will be more managed by this consensus Honey Badger integration. So that's just a technical thing regarding the consensus and the token's involvement in consensus. So evidence that management is trustworthy. I would say that they are trustworthy, but there's, however, the reason I put it as yellow is because they failed investors in the past with this. They are the team from Proof POA network, and they collected $12 million from that ICO raise, and they never gave. They ended up losing money for their investors, and they had awful token performance. So that is a negative in my opinion, because they ended up failing investors at that project, and they should have loyalty to the investors and try to get a yield for investors who gave them money. But they are very technical, and they do deliver good products. You know, like the bridge is very seamless, and so you know they're very technical. But from a business standpoint, they don't seem to stand by they don't help the people who invest with them. At least they didn't with the POA network, because they lost the people money. But the team could solve difficult problems. They're very talented. Developer compensation is set up in the token release schedule. You know, they seem like good people ultimately, though. I will say that. And so that's always the thing that you want to invest into, is good people, because good people end up caring more about their investors. So, you know, who knows? Maybe it's their project, you know, why they ended up not providing yield for POA. So high value upgrades, all of this I put as neutral, but you know, it could be green if they go private. That actually might be a use case as an Ethereum shard in the future. So all of this could actually be green, and I would see this becoming an enterprise. So I'm actually, you know, thinking about this. I'm a little more bullish than I was before, thinking more about the that privacy solution that they might do, and a lot of, but you know, depending on the progress with that in 6 months, that could actually, if there are a privacy section on the Ethereum shard, that could actually be a bullish case for this in the future. But once again, I'm going to reevaluate that when I get to the end in 8 months, where their development with that is as well. So, you know, once again, I did invest in this because these people are technically competent. So the best option of the competition, people say Matic is. There's a lot of YouTubers that'll say Matic is, but I disagree. HoneySwap wins because they have 2 million in volume or on that exchange versus Matic Swap, which only has 300,000 in volume. So it is winning on that front. Ultimately, where the volume is where the activity's at. Dr. Gavin Wood and Vitalik Buterin both have talked about it as being a temporary good solution. And even on Gavin Wood talked about substrate to parity Ethereum POA bridge like xDAI will be used on Polkadot. So it'll look similar to xDAI's POA bridge. However, it's moving to a proof of autonomy, the POS DOA. That's what it's currently moving to. But yeah, they talked about this as one of its solutions in the Polkadot system. So they're, you know, once again, very competent team from a technical standpoint. I put this as neutral. Like what this is the external transfer catalyst inhibitor is how difficult it is for people to leave. If they actually capture liquidity in HoneySwap, I don't think people will go back to Ethereum because they don't want to be in a high fee environment. So if they get that privacy solution, that could be, people will probably stay. So once people get somewhere, they're usually comfortable. It's just like people are comfortable on Ethereum, and they don't really leave it. It takes a lot to convince people to leave a system once they're already involved in it. You need difficulty of internal transfer. Once again, high Ethereum fees are what's going to pull people into this. So this project, once again, you're betting that Ethereum fees are going to get outlandish, and I would actually say that, yeah, that's probably going to happen. Ethereum fees are not going to get better from here anytime soon. So that's what's going to pull people into this project. They don't have much of a marketing situation going on. That the team does not have much of that set aside that I've seen. As far as the project will have a lot of users, once again, you're betting that Ethereum fees get high, and that will pull volume into the DEXs. And the project is easy to use. One of my earlier criticisms that it wasn't, but now it is. It is actually easy to use. That bridge that they built is easy to use, the Omni bridge. And you could look it up that if you want to use it. It's a very useful thing. Okay. And so, yeah, I expect tokens per person to go down and tokens on the sell side to decrease. There's no burning of tokens built into the platform. The token is used for services. It's used for staking rewards, governance, validator, xDAI rewards. For those validators, you lock up a lot of tokens. The value of the target market, it's a scaling solution for Ethereum. In the last 24 hours, Ethereum did $5 billion in transactions. So the average transaction fee is $10. It's probably higher than that right now. So the future market for this is a shard of Ethereum in the long run, but in the meantime, its target market is scaling Ethereum, and there's plenty of value in that for this project. It only has a market cap of 100 million, so it could 10x or more if people start using it. And that's what your bet is here, that HoneySwap will get adopted, and you're betting that people will jump to this project because the fees get ridiculous on Ethereum. That's the bottom line of this project, is that you're betting that it will get adopted from that. And in the longer run, you're betting that privacy solution might get adopted, depending on what they do with that in 6 months. So, that's in 6 months' time. So we'll address this again at that time. So my final review, my final conclusion, I think that this will be a strong performer. There's a likelihood, even though, I didn't like some things about the governance, like the token doesn't seem to be fully in control of the project. It controls validators, but as far as what gets incorporated into the project, it's like the team decides ultimately. You could put up proposals and then the team, if it's good, they're going to have common sense. So it's not the worst, So if Ethereum fees are awful and people rush into HoneySwap, this result will happen, in my opinion. So that's what you want to look for. High Ethereum fees causing people to jump ship into HoneySwap. And if that is the case, then this will be a very high performer in the next 8 months. And that's why I'm holding it. But if Ethereum fees are solved anytime soon, which I don't think is going to happen, it would be a terrible performer, at least in the short run. And you would want to reevaluate at the 8-month mark, even if that had happened. Even if this situation happened, you'd still want to evaluate it at the 8-month mark and see what they're doing with those privacy solutions and the incorporation into the Ethereum. Because Ethereum will need a shard that's private, and they could be that guy, that team, that part of it. So this project has to be on your radar if you're in the Ethereum ecosystem, which everyone really is. So that's why I did invest in this project. The cons, so they failed investors in the past with this POA chain. It's also a several-step process to use. POA network was a failed return for investors, and so business sense is at question. Their ability to produce returns for investors is at question. That's the cons. The pros, you can bridge any ERC20. HoneySwap is a current use case. Validator lockups keep supply down. Experienced technical team. It's basically a solution for Ethereum fees, which are awful. So it's the only reason I invested, and we'll see how it plays out. You know, I wouldn't put everything into this one, but it is certainly a strong project to have if you're aware of the Ethereum ecosystem. I could go over the one final thing is what they're going to be doing in the future on the roadmap. They want to do easy staking, privacy on xDAI. So this is what I was telling you about before in Q2, so 6-month period. Synthetic assets, so that could be big as well. I'm more bullish about the privacy solutions. But yeah, if the synthetic assets could be bullish as well. The Omni Bridge, you know, additional. Oh, this is where that governance will change to be more acceptable than its current governance over that bridge, because right now it's just, you know, they selected who runs it, so it's not decentralized, but they will do that in the future. And a universal non-fungible token bridge. So all of these are, you know, this is less relevant if Ethereum scales in the long run. To me, the privacy solution and synthetic assets for this is the one that could last even if Ethereum scales, is the privacy solution. The privacy solution will keep this project around even if Ethereum scales, because it could be a use case for this as a shard in Ethereum. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else. Open source. Yeah, so that's my summary. Good luck, guys. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel, hit a thumbs up, and hit the bell notification.